Well, human rights is of very, very great importance, both for all of us as citizens, but also for enterprises and for their representatives like the BDA in countries where the implementation and the respect of human rights is good. It is also better and easier for businesses to be good employers and to do good business. So we do see a very concrete link between the possibility to be a good employer and the respect and the enforcement of human rights by the governments. Well, our company members, of course, respect human rights, first of all, by respecting the national legislation in those countries in which they are operating, because human rights are international law and they need to be translated into national legislation so that companies and citizens know what exactly to respect. But in addition to that, companies also look at their operations in other countries, for instance, in countries where the enforcement of human rights has certain deficits, and they try to do voluntary initiatives and actions to improve the situation of their employees, but also of the stakeholders of their companies in these regions. The German government has the first and foremost duty to protect human rights on its own territory by implementing and enforcing the legislation which is relevant to the respect of human rights. Of course, in addition to that, it is very active at the international level, for instance, in the International Labour Organization, in the OECD, in the United Nations structure, to make sure that the principles for business and human rights are given as much effect and implementation as possible. The query we have is that the international instruments should be voluntary for business, because the only binding business obligations are the respect of the national legislation. And international instruments like the ILO Multinational Enterprises Declaration or the UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights should be and should remain voluntary as a framework which gives orientation to businesses' voluntary activities.